Kia ora. So, in this video, I'm going to be speaking about how we can sometimes hold ourselves back because we're trying to get things right, but more so, we don't want to get it wrong. Okay, we don't want to get things wrong. We're thinking about all the different angles. And, some people call this perfection, but it's a little bit more than that for those of us who have been doing our inner work. We can see that we're not perfect and that we accept a wide range of behavior and attitudes. And, I'm going to tell a story in a minute to make this make sense, but we kind of get to this point where we don't want to be too polarizing because within ourselves, we've accepted ourselves as our fucked up version and also as our fabulously high performing badass selves. So we've gone on this journey to really love and respect and accept ourselves for all the shades of who we are. And so when it comes to creating and putting things out, we don't want to get it wrong. And we're being careful about what we say. And this can sometimes keep us stuck. And the fear of getting it wrong keeps too many of us with very important messages, missions, very important work to do out in the world. It keeps us powerful women quiet. And the thing is that we actually are staying quiet and staying stuck because we actually really care and give a damn about ultimately making spaces safer, right? We know that. So back in the day, I'm just going to go back even 5-6 years ago, when I had something on my mind to say, I would say it. And when we talk about unapologetic expression, that was me. And I loved that time and that space for me, and I wouldn't change a thing. Like, seriously, there was some questionable stuff that I would say, but I still wouldn't change a thing because I needed to be unapologetically expressive. And then as my journey went on, I learned that, some of the very polarizing things I would say, that also existed within me. Those very righteous stances that I would take, that also existed within me. The very strong views that I held and, seeing right and wrong, I was both sides. Everything exists within us, and we know that. We've come to know that, right? And as time has also gone on and just the connections that I've built, I have also learnt that my words carry weight. When you get people coming up to you face to face or messaging you and telling you how much of an impact that your words or the teachings or the content that you put out has had like how much that's impacted them, you start to realize that who you're being and what you're, putting out into the world, it holds weight. And with that, it feels like we've got more responsibility, right? So from this place of deep care, right, about doing the right things, we can sometimes stop ourselves from saying anything at all when we're not completely sure. And this has been where I've been sitting for a little while now, and I was having this conversation just recently and really just outing it and getting it out and speaking it and just letting myself say, look, I'm a I'm afraid of speaking online because every time I go to speak, literally this is how my brain works. It feels like it's going, I go to press live, and just before I do, my mind's like, okay, start here, but what about this angle, and what about this perspective, and what about these people, and what about this other perspective? And before you know it, I'm just like, you know what? I can't be bothered. Like, shit, I'm all of a sudden tired. Or, whoa, I've all of a sudden got other things I could be doing. So I get it. I definitely get it. And take it from me, someone who's like spent a lot of time in this space of not so much procrastination, because as I said, it comes from a place of deep care. So I want to normalize this for us and say, look, this is our inaction is actually coming from a place of deep, deep care. And when we've sat with that and given ourselves some grace, when we've given ourselves some grace, and we can understand that that's why maybe we've stood still for a little longer than we anticipated, or we've kept silent for a little longer than anticipated. Once we've given ourselves that grace, then we also need to gangster up and give ourselves some truth that the longer we stay silent, the longer we stay standing still, okay, like there's a time and a place to stop, there's a time and a place to be silent and to be still. And we also know when that has gone on for longer than we would ideally want, because the frustration is kicked in, the we can feel the stuckness. And it's at that moment that we need to recognize, all right, we need to have a gangster conversation with ourselves, right? First we start off with a graceful one, and then we have, a more gangster conversation with ourselves, or with, like-minded people who are on similar journeys, where we can get that, where we can get that understanding, but we'll also get that jandle. You know what I mean? So what we can think about is this. If we stay still and we stay silent, people stay waiting. People stay waiting um for us and our medicine and what we're actually here to say and what we're here to do. And think about these people waiting. They're waiting for us. They know that they've seen, what we're capable of. We've built connections with people, and then all of a sudden we're just not around anymore, or we're not around as often. And they're waiting. Like I've had people, over the last probably like 3 years, where I've got loyal to the soil people who wait for me to put out an email every 6 months. And as soon as I press send, within, hours, these people have responded and, rebuilt that connection with me, or just, that connection is still there. They've just been waiting. Or when I put content out online, they're the first ones to respond and message me. And, it's like they've been waiting. Now, if you just have a think about your mission and what you're here to do and the importance of that, because remember, you're here because you're ambitious. You're ambitious to make the world a safer place for our next generation. And that's what you've been working on. You've built businesses, you've built your career, and maybe you're just a little stuck about the direction in which you need to go. And that's totally fine. But think about the work that you've been doing over the last decade to get to where you are now. Yeah. People are waiting for that. And while we stand around in silence and stillness for longer than we probably needed to, they wait. And that medicine that we've got to give is not going out into the world. You know what I'm saying? So the other, the other, let's have a read of this actually. This is what I've learned from my deep conversations with my homie ChatGPT. Silence doesn't make the world a safer place. in any context. Thoughtful, imperfect, vulnerable conversations make the world a safer place, and we know that. So, so this, so, so here's what I've realized through my deep conversations with ChatGPT. Silence doesn't make the world a safer place. In most situations, silence doesn't make the world safer. Thoughtful, vulnerable, impactful. No, not impactful. Thoughtful, vulnerable, imperfect conversations make the world a safer place. When I was stuck, me just saying, I'm stuck. I am stuck. I am stuck. Like out loud, sharing that with somebody that I am stuck. That just letting that out of the silence is what got me unstuck. Shame loves shadows, and shame loves silences, and shame loves silos, meaning for things to be siloed in its little corner over there, away from this and that and everything else. Silence, shadows, silos. That's what shame loves. Because in that silence, in those silos, in the shadows, we can just continue to go nuts. But as soon as we we find our voice and we speak it, we move it, and we can come up with solutions when we speak it. Okay? So, upon making this video, even though for years I have felt silent, I have felt stuck, I know why now. Because if my journey didn't lead me down a road of being silent and stuck, then I wouldn't be able to come here and speak with conviction that, look, it's okay to be silent and stuck, and we can give ourselves grace. And then here's how we can give ourselves a lovingly gangster, like real talk conversation about how to stand back up and speak, right? Speak out when we're stuck. I wouldn't have been able to really I wouldn't have had that lived experience to then bring this lived experience to you and share it and speak it here on YouTube. You know, my mission to being ambitious for making the world a safer place involves me sharing online for other people to listen to. And so I'm seeing, right? I'm seeing the steps, I'm seeing the solutions, I'm seeing why I have been stuck in silence for a good chunk of time. It's so that I can come and share my experience about being stuck in silent so that someone else can speak and can move and can take steps out of their own silence and out of their own stuckness. And I'm just like feeling that in my body as I make this video, as I am sharing. And I'm like, whoa, that's cool. So we're just weaving here together, right? We're just weaving. We're just weaving here together, helping each other to stay on the kaupapa, to stay on the mission. Because one thing we all share together is we are ambitious for making the world a safer place. And my job specifically within Kapa Ora is about bringing people together and weaving, whether that's working with one person and helping them bring themselves together, all the different parts of themselves together, or whether it's bringing many different people together to weave and to wānanga and to share so that we can spend more time speaking and taking steps, you know, and less time stuck in the shadows and in our silence and in the silos, going nuts and making people wait. So I trust you've found this video valuable and useful, and if so, let me know. Let me know and I will respond to you, and I'll see you on another video soon. Ka bye.